so let's just jump straight into it. Let's get into the build. Alright, so the build that I use, this is the loadout that I use. So the very first item that I always build is Leandry's Torment. So you know that very first skill that Malphite has where he throws that weird little rock disc on the ground and it hits the enemy? So that's his poke attack. So I like to get this first because it's going to give you extra damage to that attack. So it's going to make it, when you're in the beginning of the game, you're going to be doing more damage. And then that way, when you have to go in your ultimate when you hit level 5 to finish off the enemy, you can do that. So this is going to add a lot of power early game. So it's super crucial that you build this first, okay? Now the second item that I like to go is Thornmail. I like it because it adds Reflect, it gives you more attack, and it gives you more health, okay? So, and whenever any champions start doing damage to you, then you're going to be reflecting damage back. So like, if you're going up against a Dr. Mundo or something, a really high HP champion, this Thornmail, it's going to reflect the damage that they're doing back to you, so it's going to add even more damage that you're doing to them passively, okay? So that's super important, so that's why I usually go Thornmail second. The third item, I like to get Iceborne Gauntlets, so it's giving you even more armor, it's giving you mana, and it's giving you ability haste. So the ability haste is going to make it so your first ability comes back faster, and actually all of your abilities come back faster, but that first ability is super important because, it's your poke skill. It's your long range skill. Also, with Iceborne, whenever you get up close and personal and you're starting to do auto attacks, it's going to make your auto attacks hit harder, okay? So that's really big. That's why I go with that one. The next one I get is Abyssal Mask. So I get this one because usually there's some kind of AP champions on the other team, obviously, like a mid laner. Okay, so this is going to give you the health, the magic resist, mana. It's going to give you more ability haste, so it's going to make your skills come back faster. So, and it's also going to restore some of your mana. So, but another thing is that the passive for this is nearby enemy champions take 15% bonus magic damage. Well, a lot of Malphite's skills do magic damage, so this is going to make your skills do even 15% more damage to those enemies. It's also going to make your allies on your team, if they're AP, they're going to do even more damage also. So that's a really good item to get. It's super important, so that way you can dish out even more damage. Now the next one I get is Dead Man's Plate. Now this one's kind of like a flex. So the reason I like this is because it gives you the health and it gives you the armor. It also gives you move speed, okay? But I don't know, I really like the move speed on Malphite, so that way I can get around faster. And it really helps in a lot of situations, and I like the armor on top of it because in some of Malphite's skills, they do more damage when the more armor that you have, okay? Now you could go with like a Frozen Heart. That might not be a bad idea because then, Frozen Heart, you get the armor, you get, like you can put it right there, you get the armor, you get the mana, the ability haste, but what this is going to do is it's also going to lower the enemy's attack speed by 15%. Well, Malphite, he's a champion where he dives in. He's the initiator. So you dive in and you have Frozen Heart. Anybody that hits you, their attack speed is going to be lowered by 15%. So that could be huge in team fights. Another decent item that I could possibly see going for is Frozen Mallet. So this one, it gives you the health. Now, I don't like it so much because it has the attack damage, but it slows the enemy. So, I mean, that could be useful, but most of the time I really wouldn't go for that. Another decent option, in my opinion, is Sunfire Aegis. You could go there. That one, so it gives you the health, the ability haste, but this one, it also, like, in a little circle around you, you dish out some more magic damage. So it's just, that's adding to, the damage that you're doing in those team fights when people are around you. That could be another good one, but most of the time I just go Dead Man's Plate. I feel like it just gives you just a little bit more. And then also, your attacks deal up to 100 bonus magic damage. So, it gives you an attack that's decent. So that I just prefer Dead Man's. So your boots, I usually get my first level of boots early game, and I usually don't do much with them until, after my maybe third or fourth item, and then I usually finish my boots. But you could have a couple different options here. If you have an 80, top champion like, I don't know, like a Darius or a Garen or something like that, you could go plated steel caps. That wouldn't be a bad option. That's going to give you more defense. It's going to make some of your attacks do a little bit more damage, so that could help you. Another good option is the Mercury Treads. Now, if there's a lot of AP champions on the enemy team or a lot of CC, then you could go Mercury Treads. Or, you could even go, Lucidity. Now, this one I don't use as often, but, if you want your skills to come back faster, then this isn't a bad one to use. So, but most of the time I usually go with plated steel caps, and then I usually morph it into Ninja's Teleport. So, the reason I do that is because Malphite, you're the initiator. You're the one that's going to be diving in, hitting the champions, taking the damage, dishing out as much damage as you can, and taking the hits for your team. Now, if you're not there to start the fight, and you're the tank, then you're kind of useless. So that's why I grab teleport, so that way if I need to get some more quick to start a fight, then I can teleport in and use my ultimate. So for my runes, I go with Airy. Now the reason I do this is because early game, I want to win my lane, okay? I want to get as many kills as I can early game. Now Airy, it's going to add damage onto your first ability, that little rock disc, okay? So whenever you do your rock disc, then Airy's going to go out and poke him for just a little bit more damage. So that's going to make it so you can get him down to like half health. Then you can rush in with your ultimate, do your combo, finish him off, get the kill. So that's why I go for that one. So the second one is Triumph. Now I go for this because, you have a lot of defensive items. You're starting to get a lot of health late game. Now Triumph, whenever any enemy champion around you dies, you get back 10% of your missing health. Now as a tank, that's huge. You're going to get 10% health back. You're going to be able to sustain in there in the middle of everything a lot longer. The third one I get is Regeneration. The reason I get Regeneration is because, early game, mostly early game, you're doing a lot of that rock throw, your first ability. So you need to make sure that you have enough mana and your health is regenerating back faster. The last one I go Mana Flow Band. Same concept. Sorry, my throat's getting a little dry. Mana Flow Band, that's the same concept. So you're using that first ability a ton. So, you want to make sure you have enough mana to keep that, keep poking that enemy champion to get them down enough so you can engage and get, the first bloods or kill them multiple times before they kill you. So that's why I go for that one. So the spells, now I go with Barrier and I go with Flash. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive, you could go with Ignite, but I don't usually use that because, you're the tank, and Barrier is going to help you tremendously. You're going to dive in, you're going to use Barrier, your passive gives you a shield, then you have another shield on top of that, and you're just going in there and you're just beating people just left and right. You're doing Malphite stuff. So the second one is I get Flash because Malphite doesn't really have any other escapability, so Flash is a must. I hope you're seeing how this build can really come together. In the top right hand corner, I'm going to be putting a link if you're interested to know how Malphite can counter Darius. Also, make sure to watch this whole gameplay part of the video so you can grasp just how strong this build really is. Also, don't forget to comment and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Okay, so I'm just going to take some clips from a game. So I'm going to just start speeding it up and maybe add a little bit of music here in a second. And then that way you guys can see how this build really does in action. Later on in another day, I'll probably be posting a Malphite actual gameplay video where it'll take a bunch of different games that I've played and you guys can really see how this all comes together. So, all right, thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next video.